Okay, now let's go to a very entertaining race, the Dirt Mile, and this is the first time that this race has been run at a one-turn mile distance. The Churchill Downs oval, of course, has that long backstretch straightaway that enables these types of races to be run, and this should be very entertaining. Look at the very bottom. Mind That Bird, the Kentucky Derby winner, returning to Churchill Downs for the first time since his Derby win. So, you know, there are a lot of different ways you could go here. This is a very deep race. I'm sitting here looking through all my things, trying to find. I don't have the horses in here right now that are maybe preferred elsewhere. Awesome Jim, we know, is now being pointed for the marathon instead of this race. Here Comes Ben's first preferences in the Dirt Mile for sure. This is where they want to run. I think Tropic Storm may be going. I'm not positive. Anyway, now let's go to my top five. I do feel strongly about my top pick in here, even though Mike Watchmaker made Crown of Thorns his 7-2 favorite. I really like Tisway to win this race. I loved his last race in the Kelso at Belmont Park. I liked some of his races last year as well, but I think the one-turn mile is perfect for this horse. Here Comes Ben is proven at Churchill Downs. He's on a 4-race winning streak. The one-turn mile should be right up his alley as well. Vineyard Haven, Crown of Thorns. The dirt throws me off a little bit with Crown of Thorns. He's been a synthetic horse. And Awesome Jim, of course, is no longer in that top 5 because Awesome Jim is now going to run instead in the marathon. So as a 5 horse in there, I would put in probably Gallego maybe is the 5th pick, but I wouldn't put too much emphasis on that because I think Tisway's definitely the horse to beat.
I like your selections, not that you necessarily need my approval, but I too thought that Tisway and also Here Comes Ben were dead solid legit in this race and, in the right spot and everything right. Tisway, you're right, was very powerful looking in winning the Kelso handicap. There's another horse, though, who I think is under the radar that I think can threaten those two. And if we'll go to bring in the radar sound effects now, thank you. The Sky Has No Limit. To me, this horse was just a moderate horse, a moderate stakes caliber horse, but as some 3-year-olds do, he kicked it up a notch, and for him, he started kicking it up a notch on Labor Day in the Smarty Jones Stakes, which was kind of a harmless race that they kind of stuck there. It wasn't even a good prep for the Pennsylvania Derby because it was only 3 weeks before, but they used to have the Pennsylvania Derby that day, so they ran the Smarty Jones that day. It was ungraded. The race came up fast, and there were also at least 2 stakes winners coming out of it that I'm aware of. Pleasant Prince, who won the Oklahoma Derby and ran 3rd, and Coliseo, who won a stakes at Belmont on the undercard of the Super Saturday card there. So that race was a productive race. He comes back in the Indiana Derby. Now, I'll ask the viewers one question. If Looking at Lucky were in this field, do you think he'd have a chance in the Dirt Mile field? Yes, he would have the chance. He would probably be odds on. This horse, despite attending a 22-4 and 46-4 pace, now the front or the rail was where you wanted to be that day, which I thought gave bonus points to Looking at Lucky. But still, for The Sky Has No Limit, a late developer who was that close to Looking at Lucky, and no offense to Tisway and Here Comes Ben, but I don't think too many people would say that they're Looking at Lucky. So for a horse who was 15-1 on the odds sheet that we looked earlier, I thought The Sky Has No Limit was live. And he's 3 for 5 at Churchill Downs in case you're worried about his liking for the track.
All right. Well, you looked at Mike Watchmaker's line there and saw Crown of Thorns as the favorite. Now, this is a horse that Richard Mandela sort of did a little soul searching with to try to decide whether to run him in this race or whether to run him in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He ran in the Goodwood at 1 1/8 and did very well, was coming on again at the finish. Richard's kid just nipped him on the outside. But in his 8 previous lifetime starts, all of them have been on synthetic racing surfaces. He was beaten a nose last year in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. This is a very versatile horse. If he makes the transition from synthetics to dirt, as some horses do seamlessly, you never really know, which ones are going to make that seamless transition. But if he does, and he's not bred to be a turf horse, so that is a plus in his favor. then he figures to be right in the thick of things, and wouldn't be surprised at all to see him win. But since he has never been on dirt before, and since it is a question mark, to me, the Tisway Here Comes Ben Exacta is about as good as it gets.
And we got a question from BK, on the web. Wants to know, where's Vineyard Haven Ben? Why is he run so infrequently?
Vineyard Haven has been been plagued by little minor physical issues throughout his racing career. That's why he's a 4-year-old with only 10 lifetime starts. The layoff. Now, one thing I don't know about Vineyard Haven, I had a chance to talk to Rick Matee the other day, who is Godolphin's assistant trainer here in the United States for Saeed Ben Sarour. I was talking to him more about Sarah Louise than about any of the other horses that he had, so I didn't really pose too many questions to him about Vineyard Haven. I know Sarah Louise stayed behind in the United States when a lot of the Godolphin horses went over to Dubai. I don't know if Vineyard Haven made the trip or not. Do you happen to know?
I don't know that.
I don't know. But I know he was off from November to July from looking at the past performances. That could be one of two scenarios. I know Godolphin, as is the case with Sarah Louise, has begun to prep horses for the Breeders' Cup in such a manner that they want their horses lightly raced. Mm-hmm. The plan for Sarah Louise all along was to give her all year off until August, give her one race at Saratoga, then another race at Belmont, and then go into the Breeders' Cup. That may have been the plan with Vineyard Haven as well, because that's sort of the pattern that they have followed here. So I wouldn't view Vineyard Haven negatively because of his lightly raced background. There were some minor problems back when, but I think you just look at his forego, and if you think that's good enough to put him in the mix for this race, then go for it. Yeah. I don't happen to, but
I know Sarah Louise's lightly raced campaign was not fully by design. She missed a race at Saratoga.
With a bruised foot.
Yes, and I will hand it to Godolphin. They've certainly achieved the fact of their horses being lightly raced coming into these races. I'm not sure that it was, as with Sarah Louise, all by design, but I think it might have been in Vineyard Haven's case.
All right.